The Distant Hours is a contemporary terror Gothic novel. I will cover 4 elements that make this so. Firstly, the novel relies heavily on the setting of a castle. Take, for example, on page 64, when Sappy is explaining secret passageways, within the castle. Quote, "In a cupboard, in a room, at the very top of the castle, there lies a secret doorway. Behind the doorway is the entrance to an entire scheme of hidden passages. It's possible to crawl along them, room to room, attic to vault, just like a mouse." End quote. In Gothic novels, authors used castles as they provided a physical maze to signify the maze of the story's mystery itself. Next, the novel utilizes a frame story, which is a story within a story. First, we have Edie's character in the modern times, and the story that is within gets discovered as Edie conducts research on the castle and her own family's connection to it. This hidden or double reality is a classic Gothic characteristic. Thirdly, the story relies on supernatural events. Some events are explained away by actual occurrences that are not supernatural at all, while others, like Juniper's gift, are truly supernatural. Take, for example, page 305, in which we first learn about Juniper's gift. Quote, "But I love to play with them," Juniper had said. "They're my friends, and they tell me such interesting things." "I know, darling, and that's wonderful. All I ask is that you remember that you're not one of them." End quote. The last example of a Gothic element in this story is the use of dreams and nightmares. The first dream begins on page 270 as Edie is dreaming about being outside of the Mildehurst castle. And then Edie was suddenly inside of the castle, and she explains, quote, "I was at the parlor window. I looked outside and it was stormy, and I realized there was a glistening black moat." End quote. This last part of the dream is foretelling the solution to the novel's mystery in that, and this is a spoiler alert, Percy is the one responsible for her sister Juniper's demise because she is the one who murdered her fiancé. His dying body landed in the castle's moat after he received a deadly blow from Percy as she awoke from a nightmare of her own. A lot of times in Gothic novels, authors would use dreams to do this very foretelling, this foreshadowing of events that were to happen within the novel. That concludes the 4 elements that I found within the novel, The Distant Hours, and how it coincides with classic Gothic literature. I do hope you enjoyed.